it's very makeshift, and I haven't been taught for about 2 years or so because of studying. So, and I've been studying all morning. So let's just see how this goes. But either way, it will give you some yoga to do at home as you stay inside, or well, you don't have to stay inside, but as you self isolate, and social distance. Okay, so if anybody has any questions about modifications, because you might have a specific injury or condition, then feel free to leave any comments below, and I will get to them probably within a day. Okay. All right. So, and just to give you a little bit of a menu plan of the class. So, the style that I teach is the idea is to always use the breath and to kind of make the pose from the breath. And so, really, it's like meditation. If you're not breathing or focusing on your breathing, then you've fallen out of the practice. And the other thing is that everything is gentle. So even when, I'm going to try to make this class kind of beginner, intermediate level. But it's always, even when you become very advanced and you do things like headstands, the objective is that everything is from a place of calm, concentration, and not a place of force or aggression. Okay, not to say that those things might not come up in your mind, but the idea is that as you practice, you see those things come up, and then you allow them to kind of play in the background as you step forward with your frontal lobe and think, I don't have to follow that, and then you continue from a calm and critically thinking mental state. Okay? All right. Oh, I'm Dawn. You probably know that because it's posted as Dawn. Anyways, okay. So we'll start in Shavasana, and I'll walk you through about 5 minutes of Shavasana. If you want longer, then feel free to just pause this video and time yourself for however long, or just go for however long without a timer. It's really up to you, because the whole point of yoga is that it's not just following somebody, and sometimes we have to do that to kind of learn the basics, but it's also about trying to understand how it relates to you mentally and also physically. Okay. All right, so we'll lay back. Now, I'm going to give you a few options. So you could lay back in Shavasana, that typical corpse pose where you're laying flat, the arms are out either at the sides or straight out to the sides, overhead, on your belly. Belly sometimes is helpful because then you can feel yourself breathing. It helps to concentrate a bit more. Another option. Oh, this is my wall from studying anatomy. And so now it's become a permanent fixture in my room. Okay, so legs could be up the wall. Now, some of you may not be able to get up the wall as I just did in a very easy way. So let me just walk you through that. Okay, so the idea is that you bring your feet to the wall, your bum as close to the wall as you can. That everybody's going to be different, right? Not everybody can get their bum that close to the wall. So you might be a little further back. And then slide one leg up and then the other. That, again, may not be that easy. You might even have to, use some aids, use your arms. I don't know what your physical condition is, right? And so the legs may be on an angle, or they might be completely or relatively vertical, okay? So it's really about not what the form looks like, it's about how does it feel. And so if your back feels more comfortable, for example, a little bit further away from the wall, then do that. Another thing is that if your head, my head is fine laying flat on the ground. Some of you may not have that. especially if your posture tends to be a little bit kyphotic, which means your upper back is a bit hunched, or you're used to using a large pillow when you sleep, you may need to put something not quite as high as you normally would use sleeping, but just a little bit, and try it and see, does that make you feel more at ease? Because the objective is to feel more at ease. It's not to try to feel like you have to force yourself into a posture that's not appropriate for you. Okay. All right, so pick the posture that you're that you're okay to be in. And then if you feel comfortable, you'll close your eyes. And then start to notice your breathing. Feel the breath move in and move out. You might let the breath simply be natural, so just observing it, not changing it in any way. Or you might intentionally breathe a little bit deeper, so you might intentionally take a deep breath in, exhale, sigh even. Really try to round your belly if you are intentionally breathing. Adjust yourself at any time that you need to. Round your belly, so make your belly round, like a pregnant belly. It might not look that way, but feel that way as you expand, as you inhale, and as you exhale, the belly softens back towards the ground. Feels like it's kind of oozing and spreading out into the ground. Maybe you like to imagine your body a little bit like water. And so as you exhale, your body puddles into the ground, sort of like a rainy day where the water just starts to kind of touch the ground, spread out and into the ground. Okay. Now you might be noticing that I'm doing a lot of exhaling out through my mouth. So I'm not of a school of yoga that is that directs a specific type of breathing. I know a million different kinds of breathing, and it's a matter of finding what's right for you and what's right for you in the moment. And so maybe you have a lot of tension built up, and so exhaling out through the mouth might be helpful. Perhaps you're finding it very difficult to concentrate. Well, louder breathing can sometimes help to focus you in on the breath, right? So the breath is very difficult to focus on. Our mind is, in yoga we call it the monkey mind, and even in meditation. Our mind likes to jump around. And so this is helping to try to bring it back to the center, right? So it's focused in, pinpointed focus. Okay? Or you can simply breathe in and out through your nose, really whatever works for you. And that continually changes, because we are always changing, the world is always changing, right? So we just adapt. And so right now we've been focusing on the breath in the belly. And so this is very central to the body, but we've got arms and legs and we've got a head. So you might breathe in and breathe out and see where can you feel movement from that inhalation and exhalation out into the limbs, out into the arms. Just what do you feel? There's no right and wrong, it's just can you feel kind of a ripple effect into the arms, legs, maybe even your head. If you can't feel anything, that's fine. Then just simply focus on feeling these areas. Focus on just feeling what those areas that seem a little bit silent or kind of void of sensation. See if you can place your mind there, and then maybe something arises. and maybe it doesn't. So we learn how to kind of sit and wait and see. Especially as you start to focus on the head, try to think about the weight of the head. So the head is roughly 13 pounds, all right? So that's like 6.5-ish, well, a little more than that, kilos if you're more into kilos. And so try to feel as you exhale a sense of the head resting into the ground, but even beyond resting into the ground, as if it's making an impression into the ground. And notice what you feel as you do this through the spine. So maybe not, but see if you can feel any kind of movement in the spine or response in your spine as you rest your head. And then check in with your facial muscles. So you may have already noticed some tension in the jaw, somewhere in the face. And so see if you can relax that area. Sometimes thinking about relaxing actually causes more tension. So another sometimes effective method is to make tension. You could stretch the jaw wide, stretch it long. Right, just move it around randomly. Scrunch up the face. And then take a deep breath in and exhale, and see if you can soften back towards the ground. Allow that tension to release from the face. And a sense of seeping into the ground from the center of the body all the way out. Through the arms, through the pelvis, the legs, and the head. Even the brain. Brain could rest back a little bit. Just take a little bit of a thinking break. All the portions of the body on the ground, settling, and making an impression into the ground. Okay, so if you feel that you're ready to start to move, then please do. If you need a little longer, just pause the video and then start it back up when you're ready. Okay, so moving might be simply just wiggling the toes, pointing and flexing the toes, reaching the arms up overhead, circling the arms, taking up a bit of space. So we might be a bit socially isolated, physically socially isolated, that is, not by any means in the virtual world. But we can learn to take up some space here, right? Circling the arms. If anybody finds the idea of making what's called a prayer position weird or somehow religiously connected and that's not okay with you, think of it more as trying to draw the energy back down through the body, or a sense of reminding your mind to focus, right? It's more about, okay, maybe if I draw my hands together, they're used to doing things, things that are separate, different, reach. Now we're just bringing them together just as a moment to pause and then recenter, right? That's more kind of a symbolic movement to remind the mind to come back into focus rather than looking at the news, looking at this, finding out about that, ordering groceries, come back to focus just for a bit, just for a little bit. Okay. All right. If you're not on your mat, then you might want to come onto your mat for this, or you don't even need a mat. That's the thing I've always taught with yoga, is that you really don't need special devices, right? You can simply do it on your rug. In dance growing up, we did everything on hard floor, so they don't need anything special. Okay, some of us, of course, have different conditions that maybe it's a better idea to have things. Okay, so not to totally rule them out, but also not to, say that you can't do something because you don't have the equipment. There's always a way to work around it. Okay, so this first posture this is called, it's exercises from the Feldenkrais system, and myself and some of my yoga teachers adopted this quite a while ago, and it's very effective for mobilizing the thoracic spine, which is your rib cage spine that spans from your navel to the base of your neck. In that area, it tends to, even just in its structure, have less mobility in some ways. Some ways it has more. But in general, we tend to overuse our lower back and our necks. So this is a way to try to balance things out, and also to free up the musculature of the rib cage so we can breathe more easily. Okay. So the first exercise, and I'm just going to go through this slowly, quickly, in that I'm only going to show you one repetition for each side. If you think that your body needs more than that, it feels like you're quite tight, then by all means pause the video, maybe practice one of them or a few of them more than the others, okay? All right, so the first one is and this is also on a separate video, if you ever want to check it out, that I posted a few years ago. So you're sliding your hand away from you, your head might start to roll, and your face might start to go face down. Allow whatever movement wants to happen. And then circle the arm up overhead, as if you're trying to touch all the numbers on a clock. But of course, you may reach a point where your hand can't touch, and that is fine. Everyone has different flexibility, so you do what you can. If it ever feels like it's strenuous, it's kind of feels like that's too strong of a feeling, almost maybe sharp pain, then that's too much, and so you might choose instead to circle just small circles in the shoulder up overhead and stay on your side, okay? And then maybe over time, the circle can get larger, okay? So as you're here, the idea is to let the spine, the upper spine, roll towards the ground so that you're in a twist. And you might stay here and breathe a few moments, right? A few breaths. Or you might continue the circle. And that's dependent on your physical state. So, maybe there's areas that really need a stretch. Or maybe there's areas that need more mobilizing. So, as we move, then we start to mobilize the joints, right? If we stay in a hold position, then that is more of a stretch for the muscles, and that can also help mobilize the joints in a bit of a different way. Okay. and your breathing. So you might simply just breathe, focus on making sure that you are breathing, maybe even elongating the breathing. Or, if you want to be more directive, is inhale, wait, and exhale, slide the hand away, and then circle it around, okay? Now everyone's breath is going to have a different length, so you may have to take a few breaths as you go around, okay? So I think I'm going to change my idea about this. We'll just stick with this class to the circling. If you want to see the other 3 different variations of this, then you can check out my other video called Rolling with Ease. And just for time's sake, to be able to get kind of a complete practice, we'll stop there. Okay, so to get to the other side, the most gentle way is to open the top leg, open, open, open. Let the top arm follow, dragging nice and heavy. The bottom leg just follows, right? So we're trying to be as weighted and heavy as possible, like molasses pouring down into the ground. Okay? Alright. And then let's try the other side. Okay. So again, inhaling, exhale, slide the hand away. Heavy into the ground. Inhale. Try to fill the back of your body. Exhale. Submerge the body into the ground as if it could infinitely become heavier. Your eyes can be open or closed, but if they're closed, if you feel comfortable with that, then it tends to allow us to feel more, go more deeply inside the body, rather than thinking on kind of externally, like gross part of the body. Legs are heavy. Okay, all right. So for the next one, I'm gonna let you decide the order that you want to do it in. So you might stay on your back and do bridge pose, which we'll do after we're about to do lunge. I have very tight thighs from years of cycling, and so I find going right into bridge doesn't work. My thighs just hold everything back. So I prefer to come into lunge. Okay, so how do we get into lunge? Some of you might have no problem. You just, bam, I'm here in lunge. You know, you might be fancy and come into down dog. And do a little leg swing and stretch, and here you go, then you're in lunge. Some of you might be like, I can't do that. So the other option is to swing the leg out, yeah, and kind of it might oblige, and you might bring it all the way around, or it might be that you need to kind of pick it up and bring it. Either way, see how you can find your way into lunge, okay? You may need to adjust your back leg so that it's further back, so you're actually getting a stretch in the thigh. For me, that would be my left thigh. And now, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If not, keep them open. Maybe try to switch the gaze, even if your eyes are open, to feeling inside the body. Okay? Take a deep breath into the belly. Exhale. Each time that you exhale, feel free to adjust as you need to. Anytime that you exhale, think about the front heel resting into the ground, sense of the spine elongating, so the sacrum and the tailbone are moving in a way that's sliding down and under, right? So a lot of you won't feel this, but some of you will feel more like your lower back is going into a back bend and your tail is tipping back. If that's the case, you're going to have to work more on grounding that front heel and feeling the pelvis roll under, okay? Now you may stay here. Another variation is to roll up through the spine, and you might be in lunge with the arms up, temple, cactus, stretch the arms, right? The objective though is that the spine feel free. If you come up and you start to feel stiff in the trunk, then maybe lean up, right? Or maybe hands on the hips, or coming back down, partial, yeah. Okay, so you find the best way. Again, some of you might not be able to be in lunge quite as long as we've been there, so feel free at any point to change postures or to move into something that your body seems to be calling for, rather than listening to me and thinking you need to kind of keep up. My classes are not anything about keeping up. You can be your own drill sergeant. Okay, so then the next leg comes over. Okay, so if you need to be your own drill sergeant, stay longer, then pause the video. For example, in my own practice as a more advanced practitioner, I tend to hold most poses for a minute and a half. And I don't use a timer. Instead, I timed my breathing and found that 8 to 12 breaths, depending on how long and deep I breathe, equals a minute and a half. And so that's how long I'll stay. But some days, especially lunge, it might feel like, no, that is too intense or too much of a stretch, because we can overstretch. And so then we shorten things. So it's about intelligent practice rather than just mindlessly following a video. Okay? All right. So again, feeling that front heel ground, and you might even use your hand as you exhale. Yeah, so you're cupping the back of your heel and you're grounding it as you exhale. Also feeling for the inner foot, so that I like to think about the foot as being kind of 4 points, right? So one at that big knuckle there, one at the inner heel, the outer heel, and then the outer foot, that sort of knuckle above your baby toe. Those 4 points being able to feel grounded evenly. Well, often we put more weight on one place than the other, and so trying to find an evening. Okay. All right, that's probably long enough for most of you. Okay, so now come back onto the ground. Okay. All right, this is our last posture on the ground. Well, except for the counter pose. Okay. How are we doing for time? Yeah. Okay, so now from here, the arms in bridge pose. So a lot of traditional practices tend to have the arms by the sides, or they even do clasp them underneath the body. Personally, I prefer overhead. That might be way too much for a lot of you. Way too much in that it's too much of a stretch or even a strain. Arms like so, pointing straight up or out to the side, are other options. Okay. And the idea here is that the pelvis rolls, and then we roll one vertebra at a time off the mat. So we start with the feet. So you inhale, exhale, ground the heels, feel the pelvis roll under, And we won't go up yet. So inhale, relax, fill the belly. Pelvis rocks back. Exhale. So the feet are powerfully moving into the ground. Thighs are not splaying out or in, so they're in line with your feet. Try to feel your feet aligned to each other, knees aligned to your feet as you press into the ground. Okay? Now, so there's activity in the feet and the legs. The upper body is relaxing, but notice if that's actually true in your body. The head is relaxed, arms, upper back and chest. Okay? All right, let's try the full pose now. So here the idea is that you inhale again, round. So in general, the way I teach, inhalation is the time to relax and just focus on breathing in. Exhale is when you're active through whatever part is active, so the feet and the legs in this instance, and actively feeling for resting into the ground at the same time. Okay? And then you're rolling up one vertebra at a time until the height that you can reach, and that's going to be different for everybody. Again, it comes from the feet moving into the ground, especially the heels. And you never want to reach a point where the lower back feels crunched or like the tail is curling towards the floor. So the tail, the action of the spine is lengthening towards the knees. The tail is rolling through the legs up towards the ceiling. So it's a circular motion, right? Inhale, you might even drop down a bit. Breathe in. Exhale, ground the feet. So you may sustain the pose, breathing as I've just demonstrated, or you might roll all the way down, one vertebra at a time, like a bicycle chain, rolling onto the ground. That works for you. Pearl necklace. Maybe picturing the actual bones of the spine rolling onto the ground and settling. Okay. Variation here. And this is a good one for maintaining core stability and balance as well. Is one leg up. Okay, so it's the same principle. So you inhale, exhale. And the leg, there's no tightness, right? It's not forceful, but there is definitely an engagement or a lengthening through the leg. There's not a stopping at the ankle though. It continues out through the sole of the foot. You might play with your toes while you're up there, even circle the foot to get some mobility into the ankles. Right? So as you're walking 2 meters away from each other outside, you want to have mobility in your ankle. Okay. All right, and then try the other side. Again, you can pause this video at any time and practice the different postures more than what I'm doing, or less. Okay, so it's really about you determining what is best for you. Then shoulders, head, and upper back are resting. So it's like they're in Shavasana. So that relaxation posture we do at the beginning and end of yoga. And then the leg, that foot, is moving powerfully into the ground. And then you roll down one vertebra at a time, helping to mobilize the spine. Okay, the counter posture one of them anyways, is little boats. That's one leg in and then the other. That's the most gentle, for any of you athletes, sure, you can bring both legs in at a time. Anyone who's got lower back issues, definitely one leg in and then the other, okay? And the knees could be together, slightly apart, really far apart. Hold on to the backs of the legs. If you don't have that, many people are not going to have the flexibility I have, so that's fine. Maybe you're more like this, right? That's absolutely fine. If you need an extension to your arms, you can always take a belt and wrap it around your shins, around your thighs, and that can be an extension to the arms. The arms are resting though, in whatever position that they are hugging the legs. They're not grabbing tension, trying to do so, or forcing to hug the legs in. They're relaxed, right? They're heavy. Just using the weight. And you can rock from side to side. Okay, I hope you can hear me with this video. Okay, all right, let's roll up. Okay, so I thought that we could do the moon salutation. And so, I don't even know where the moon's at these days, but it came to me yesterday and I thought, yeah, that's kind of a fun one, and it's got lots of limbs moving in different directions, so it might help you to feel a little bit expansive in a time when we're kind of, more isolated and insular. Okay, so we'll make our way to standing. For some of you, you may just want to get up and stand. Others, you might come into down dog first. Okay, so to get into down dog, there's two ways. If your knees are healthy, then you could come back into child's pose. Again, we're going to move on the exhalation. So we inhale, and exhale. Hands plant, feet plant, and that's what brings us into down dog. Okay. If your knees are not healthy, that's too, so healthy as in maybe you have osteoarthritis or some kind of an injury. A better way to get to down dog, two ways. One is coming more from table, and then you come up. That's going to feel a little bit more like a push-up in the arms, but it's less force in the knee joint, okay? If anyone has any questions about that, just ask me. Okay. The other way is to come from standing. Okay, so you roll into the forward bend and then simply walk your way back. Okay? So you can find the distance that's best for you or that you're interested in practicing today. So some people practice down dog very, very short, right? And so, for example, this is a stretch for the legs, right? Stretch for the arms, the shoulders. This involves a lot of flexibility. So some of you may need more of a longer stance. Some of you may have very long legs, and so a longer stance is better for you. The idea is to find what makes you feel like you can breathe. If you can't breathe, then it's too much, right? The shoulders feel tight, right? There's no jamming the shoulders, trying to get your head to the ground, nothing like that. Just breathing. Exhale. Hands smooth into the ground. Pelvis slides back. Long line through the spine. And the head hangs. So the head hangs. Heels move towards the ground, but they may not touch the ground. Okay. And then we'll walk one foot and then the other foot towards our hands. You may need to bend quite a bit. At some point you may not have the flexibility to keep the hands on the ground and you might have to have them on the thighs. Okay, so see where your flexibility is at. Some of you may be able to fold in half. Some of you may think, whoa, that's never happening. Breathe, exhale, and sink your feet into the ground. You might bend one leg and straighten the other. Okay. And then at some point, bend both legs and roll up through the spine. If you have lower back issues, walk the hands up for support. Sometimes it's even helpful to have one hand on the back of the pelvis for support. And you roll up. Okay? And inhale up. A little back bend in the upper back. Exhale. Okay. All right, so you might be done. No, we're okay. Good. Yeah, you might be done with that. Otherwise, if you want to hang in there, we'll try a little moon salutation. So I'll do it. We'll do it on either side. If you can do more, then just pause the video and do another round on each side, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So the idea, I hope you can see me because I think you can. I tried to set up the camera. My room's a bit of a odd configuration. Anyways, okay, so hands are in front of the chest or in front of the heart. And then you inhale, rise up. And then exhale over to the right. And I should be, actually, I'll tell you to over to the left. So you're mirroring me. We're going to go over to the left. Now, arms could be straight. Could be just fingertips, palms together, or separated. You might inhale and rise the shoulders up. And exhale and roll them. Inhale. And then exhale. The feet are planting or growing into the ground, like they're growing roots. Inhale. Exhale. Feel that length with the exhalation. Exhale moves down through the legs, through the feet, especially the heels. Shoulders are soft, they're not wrenched up by the ears. And then inhale and exhale, grow yourself up to come down. Okay, and then we'll roll our way all the way down. Step your left leg out to the side. Just do a comfortable stand, comfortable length. Okay? And then inhale and exhale. This one's a little wacky, but it's fun, and kids will like it. Inhale, exhale. You're looking up towards the middle of your forehead and sticking your tongue out as much as you can. And then roll yourself back down. And then you're rotating yourself around. Your feet are parallel unless you tend to walk with quite a predominant turnout. Then have the feet adjusted accordingly. The main objective is that the knee, the center of your knee, aligns to the center of your foot. So kind of second and third toe. So if you have them parallel, but your knee is knocking in or knocking out, you may be able to adjust that just by the weight, how you position the weight in your foot. So if it's knocking in, put a bit more weight on the outer foot. Knocking out, a little bit more weight on the inner foot. Or you may have to adjust the foot, right? The purpose is that we want the knee to be safe. Okay. All right. And now from here, we'll try a balance. I hope you can see me. I'm trying my best here. Okay. And so